我是胡谈，
我是宏论，
我胡谈，我宏论，胡谈不胡谈，宏论有宏论，胡谈宏论，不见不散。Welcome to Who Talks. My name is David Hu. We're very happy to have with us today Miss Wu, Carissa Wu, and then her parents. It is a very special show for today is because I have a lot of families and having issues with teaching their kids to be successful. And today we have someone here, maybe you can get some knowledge or educated, and because this family are working together to raise the child, and now she is accepted by Harvard University. Not only that, she also has won many awards and competitions, including U.S. Ambassador, the championship. You were the champion? U.S.
Sure.
Ambassador? Yeah.
Right, National Beauty Queen pageant winner.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, and National American Miss, right?
Yes.
Very, very good. I'm so impressed.
Thank you.
Yeah, I wish I have a daughter like you.
Oh,
And then
you're too young for that.
yeah, but I really wanted to help everybody, so that's why initially we'll try to just interview Miss Wu, but now I think it's very important to have both parents with us, and then that way can help us more to understand how to raise a child and a family. And then actually we all heard about called Tiger Mom. And Tiger Mom is right here today. But according to she just told me, I don't think she qualifies the title as Tiger Mom. So instead of ask you the question first, I wanted to ask both of you, are you really a tiger parent to raise her?
Okay, so I think right now the term has changed. I don't know whether you're aware of this or not. So people now call, so a good term is cow parents, not tiger parents. So cow is a combination of tiger and sheep. So you have to have the tiger perspective, and also you need to have the sheep perspective. And then the combination of this is the cow parents. So yeah, so that's what I have heard of when I went to Harvard with her. And so all the parents were talking about this cow parents. So I don't know whether we are cow parents or not, but I think in terms of academics, she is on her own. So basically, I think she had very good studying habits, ever since she was in elementary school. And thanks to Coast Brain, the Gifted and Talented program, and also Tacoma Park. So both programs taught her how to study, very focused. So, and then that's why we don't have to worry about her academics. So what we actually focus on is really her as a human being, how to teach her from how to behave in school, how to react to a lot of abnormalities in life, and how to deal with hardship, how to make friends. So we spend a lot of time talking to her. So I think in that sense, yes, we are tiger parents, because we don't really let go, but we don't really want her to go stray and daddy.
Well, I think many people focus on mom with daughter or dad with daughter, but they forgot the relationship of the family as a parents, how important that is. It's actually, I think, we are a Christian family, and we have, I would say, we have a very good, my wife and I has a very good relationship. I think that is something people
work
overlook.
together as a team.
Yeah, it's
It's a unity. It's a unity.
If you don't have, parents don't have a good relationship, that has a much bigger impact to the parents, to the kids. If you have a good relationship, you have a much more positive impact to the kid. That's something overlooked for many people actually.
Yeah. I mean, for kids, of course, all kids like to play, have fun and take breaks. And your parents want you study and tell you, you know, set a goal or maybe a good expectation. You must have some conflict. How you deal with these conflicts?
Right. Well, my parents, they were definitely not tiger parents in the sense that they told me I had to get 100% on every test, or I had to come back home with like straight A's every time on my report card. But I think what they did for me was they taught me how to set goals, how to work hard to achieve them, and in that they kind of gave me the independence and letting me, you know, choose my own goals and allow me to kind of grow in creativity and figure out what works best for me, how I can achieve those goals, you know, the best in my best ability. And they provided the support for me whenever I needed it. So, you know, at times there are definitely tensions when, you know, I want to do something one way and they want me to do something the other way. But I think the most important thing is us all talking it out with each other through communication and really figuring out, you know, what works best for me from coming from both perspectives. I think I have a very different perspective coming from as a child, and they have, you know, years of experience. Sorry, I'm just like, I have a lot to say about this, but
yeah, well, for setting goals, I know you have a lot of goals from your parents. That's why you win the Miss Maryland for National American Miss, and you were Miss Maryland, right?
yes, I was.
Wow, congratulations, that's great.
Thank you.
So, to be the Miss Maryland, not just academic-wise, you have a good grade and a score. Also, you have to win other talents like dance, piano. And I know your parents mentioned to me, you started what, like 3 years old when you start learning dancing? Wow. And then how old you were for piano?
5 years old.
5 years old. And among these 130, 40 people, you're the number one.
Yeah.
That's very good. And then, so when they ask you to do something and you always obey or you disagree or how you, that's something I want to know, because a lot of parents have problems with their child.
Right.
You know, when you don't feel wanted to do it, how they treat you. And they tell you, give you a timeline. I want a more detailed, because that way we all can know. Do they give you a time like this time, this much you can play, but after that you have to go back to study or?
Right. So there are some things that like my parents are very stringent on. There's some rules that I just can't break because we have set moral boundaries. So like I have a certain like curfew time of coming back home so that I can get enough rest for the next day, and so I can't, you know, spend the whole night out with my friends. Things like that, they're very strict with, which I appreciate. I think it's given me a lot of boundaries that will definitely protect, you know, myself. But a lot of the times, if we do run into conflicts, I think it's finding a compromise. So, you know, if I don't agree with them, I will make it evident, and but I think what's most important is that we share both our points of views and kind of figure out, you know, a middle ground so that we, you know, all come to some sort of agreement.
So basically they treat you not as a child.
Right, exactly.
They open talk.
Right.
So that's important.
And I think there's one thing that sometimes the kids, they will not agree with you from their words, but in their mind they know you're right. I mean, I think so. I just want to tell the parents. So don't be discouraged that there is a conflict. Just, you know, be patient. I think those are the things that are important.
That's actually very important, because a lot of times I think parents, including me, when the kids showing not happy or don't accept what you say, and you go like, oh, there's a conflict. Actually, based on what you just mentioned, they knew you were right. You're right.
They knew.
They knew.
They knew. They knew all along. But they want to show they are independent. They want to show they're strong. I mean, that's they want to put that face. So you just need. I think the parents need to be smart. Just, you know.
Yeah, actually that reminded me of one incident when she was very young, actually just 7 years old. So I remember at church, one teacher asked kids, like, do you think your parents are fair? So guess what? What she said, so what the teacher told me later on, she said, well, I know they are fair, but I pretend that they are not.
Oh.
Even when she was 7 years, I mean, she doesn't remember that. But you see, kids at that young age, in their heart, they know what is right, what is wrong. But on their face, they would just pretend. So they
argue with you, they're not happy.
Yes, yes.
That's right. Against you, but actually knew right or wrong.
Exactly, yeah. So,
that is very important. And when you grew up, there are many things, not just the parents thing in your, all the way. What is most difficult things you faced, and then how you solve it?
I think growing up, one of my biggest obstacles was accepting the Chinese part of my Chinese American identity. I was a young child. I always wanted to be a normal American girl. I think my mom can attest to this, that I always pestered her about why I couldn't have blonde hair and blue eyes, or why I couldn't have peanut butter and jelly sandwiches at school every day for lunch. And so I was always, I hate to say this, but I really was ashamed of this half of my identity. And I never really overcame this until I stepped into the pageant world. And I started to see that my Chinese American identity was a blessing, and it was my pageant journey that helped guide me towards this acceptance, and now I can proudly be who I am. But it was really when I went to my first pageant. I was the only Chinese American contestant there, and it was really scary for me. I looked around the room and I saw a sea of beautiful women, and none of them looked like me. And so at first, I was definitely very intimidated, but as I went into the competition, I think you mentioned, for talent, I played a traditional Chinese piano piece, which everyone loved, including the judges. And during interview, amongst the numerous questions that they asked me, a few were specific to my Chinese American heritage, and they asked, tell me more about your experiences as a Chinese American, or tell me about the story of how your parents immigrated from China to America. And it was kind of going through this experience when I realized, wow, like, this is something really special that I have tried to ignore for so long, but it's a part of me that I should be proud of. And so that weekend I walked away as Miss Maryland Junior Teen, but I think I walked away with a lot more than that, and I had this newfound appreciation for, my Chinese American identity.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah.
For you, I think to a lot of kids, especially a lot of parents, would think you are in the group so-called successful. Okay, and a lot of people think you're not going have a good grade, or it's a failure. So would you tell people what you think about what successful and failure is?
Yeah, sure. So to me, success really is not about the end result. It's not about winning that trophy or getting the straight A's or getting the certificate. It's more about the journey to get there and what you learn along the way. So, if I use my pageant as an example, preparing for the pageant when I was going through the process of practicing for interview or practicing my on-stage question, I became so much more confident in myself. Growing up, I was very shy and insecure, but through that training process, I gained public speaking skills, leadership skills, elegance, confidence, poise, all these different types of things that even before I went and competed in my first pageant, I already felt successful. I already felt like a winner because I had learned so many new skills and new things about myself. And so, there have also been times when I didn't win a pageant. My first national pageant was in Los Angeles, California, around 3 years ago, I think. I went there, I gave it my all, I did 110% of my efforts, and I didn't end up with any overall placement. And at first,
even though you won
I won the national talent title, but I guess that's different, it's a separate thing. But at first I felt like it was a failure. I had put in so much work and I didn't see any result. But looking back, I saw so many things that I could learn. So, I saw ways I could be more clear and concise in my interview, or walk with more poise and elegance on stage. And, being able to look back and reflect on things that I could improve on has led me to, use those things that I learned in future pageants. And so then I could look back and say, maybe this wasn't a failure, but it was a success in the fact that I learned something that I could improve on and just become a better version of myself.
Yeah, well, thank you. And I think the same question I will ask the parents, because I can tell she had a lot of classes, and you have another child, right?
Yeah.
And you have to manage the time, send her to different classes to learn this dance, piano, and possibly mathematics. Did you? How you manage?
She is the math captain, right, at school, yeah. And,
Okay, so actually she's a science girl. It's not really, people thought that she's a dancing and pageant. So actually she's focused on mathematics and, you know.
science.
Yeah, and at the time when she was so little, you have no result, no clue she will be like today. You got accepted by Harvard, you know, have no idea. How you devoted so much time and, you know, energy and everything.
Well, I want to put throughout this first. I think many times as a parents, we want them to be who we want them to be. Or in another way, we have a kind of a goal or an image to think about down the road who she will be. But this may not fit her. I mean, I think, but many times that's who we as a parent think that's the best for her, and we try our best to put her in the past to that image. And I think that's, and also many times we have experience, we have knowledge, and we expect them to reach that level in a much quicker, in a more unrealistic pace to get there. I mean, that's kind of, it happened to me. I think I am a software engineer, so I'm really an expert in computer science, computer programming. So I remember she had a computer science course, she had a program. The first reaction, how can you not know this? Right? But you know,
It's so simple.
Right, it's so simple, right? But how can you not know this, right? So that's the thing, right? So yeah, of course I have 20 years of training, right? So but those other things come immediately. That's the reaction. This is how I thought, right? So that's the thing. I can see, you know, her mom has the same thing. You know, it's better for you to be this or that. I mean, I think we need to give her room, and also I think at the beginning we said we need to set boundaries, but on the other hand we need to give room to make sure she grows into who she really is. And I think that's the first. I think second thing would be this for her. I think as a parent, there's no expectation except love. I know God has an unconditional love. We have conditions, but I can say for most of the parents, they don't have much. They have a very low level of expectation for return. They just give. I think it's almost all parents, all parents, they have that. I think that's important. I don't expect anything from them. You know, I just want them to be the person, you know, that God wants them to be. I think, you know, things will work out.
Very nice. I mean, I want my daughter to be that person, but it's not easy. But you very lucky, and you did what you have spend all the time and energy, and then that's what you get. That's very nice. And for these parents right there, do you have anything to tell them? You know, how to through these years, what you think you would tell the parents how they should reach them? Do you have any idea? Because I know my daughter would say, you know, just as a father, don't, you know, he's too. If you go too detailed with the kids, they don't even listen. But your parents told me they don't really give you a lot of detailed instructions or direction to go, but just tell you what expectations set the goal for you. But for you as a child, what you think?
Right. So I am really appreciative of, you know, the way that my parents have raised me, because I know I would not be the person I am today without them. I think what has been really nice is that they have given me the support, given me the tools, given me advice along the way on, you know, which directions I should pursue, or, you know, where to focus my efforts on to be able to do well. And I think that's been really helpful for me when I've been growing up. I do think it is, you're right, like when you give your kids such strict boundaries on what to do and what not to do, that can feel like, you know, very, I would feel very, I don't know how to put this, but like, I don't have room to grow and I don't have room to be myself. And I feel like I would feel like I am my parents' like clay, and they're just like trying to mold me in what they want me to be. But I think it's really important that parents respect kids and that they have their own mind, they have their own thinking and their own way of approaching problems. And if you really treat them like that, if you treat them as someone who wants to be their own person and not as someone who you have the opportunity to kind of live your life through, then it becomes a much more enjoyable experience and a much closer bond between parents and kids.
Well, I think So Carissa actually, when she was young, she was a very, very shy kid. So grandparents, like, you know, after many, I mean, they don't visit us very often, but this time when they visited us, they said, wow, so she just changed to a different person. So I think during this process, I think parents do have a very important role to play. So I think when she was young, like, you know, there are certain things, like, you know, you don't have to, like, you know, she can just self-develop. For example, she loves dancing. That part, I don't really have to do anything. She just, like, you know, go out.
Dance?
I'm a dancer, really.
See? Probably.
So, but there are
Give us
things that,
family.
but there are things that you have parents, you have to see, like, you know, where this is going, and you have to be firm on that. For example, for piano, no kids love to practice while other kids are playing outside.
Put it in.
So, but because we see that she has talents, she does have talents in piano, and we do know that this is a very good training for her, because for perseverance, like, you have to be here, like, in every day and practice. I think it's not really piano itself, it's really this quality. She needs this quality in order to handle the difficulty down the road in lifetime. So I felt like, you know, okay, she's talented in this and she likes it. I mean, like, she doesn't love it, but she likes it. So that's something I did for her, like, with her. So for the first 2 years, I sat beside her, and then, like, you know, just, like, you know, we just do this together. And so, but after 2 years, then she's on her own. And then I remember, like, you know, there were times when she was too busy. We're like, okay, why don't you just quit piano? And then she refused to quit. So, and then later on, like, you know, piano becomes part of herself. So I think without the first 2 years of me, like, you know, being on her side, she wouldn't be able to do this. And then I think, yeah, so for parents, so you need to find your kids' strength and also find their weakness and see how to promote their strength and how to make up for their weakness.
That's important.
So for her, like, you know, because she was very shy, very, very shy.
Okay.
And then I think pageant is something like that she also liked to do, but she didn't really have a lot of confidence in it. Yeah. And then that's how, like, you know, I helped her, like, you know, go through this process. And then that just totally opened her up. And she changed to a very confident, very social girl. And I think, yeah, parents, when we talk about Tiger Mom in the beginning, so it's not really the little details, it's really your vision. Like, you know, there's big, okay, down this road, you see that my child can be there. So with my help, she can be there. So I think that's what parents should do.
Yeah. Do you have any stories can share with us? Interesting story when she grew up, anything? I guess must be some, you know, I just give you this, and if you don't have any, that's fine, but, you know.
What kind of interesting story?
There
are lots of things.
A lot of things, right? Must be. Yeah, so anything to share when she's little, and, you know, I guess for kids, it's not everybody. I mean, when first 2 years we were sitting next to her, I mean, piano, if you don't have a really know how to play in the beginning, it's no fun.
Yeah, right? I can confirm it's not fun.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
But yeah, right after that, 2 years later, when you say, hey, stop, she can't stop. She already see the result, already enjoying the music, you know, everything. And then she know this one is something she can see. It's a whole complete piece already. So that's...
Yeah. So I think it's really like the puzzle. So by the end, you see the picture. But during the process, it's just a little piece. I mean, she didn't see anything. We don't really see anything either. So it's really like, you know, the whole family, like, you know, it's during this process. I think you said interesting thing, but I think maybe the important thing, I think when she was 3, like, you know, we went to church. So I think that was very important in her life and also in our family life. Because now when I look back, I think that was the most correct decision, if I can use that. I mean, the grammar is wrong, but it is the most correct decision, wise decision we ever made. Because down the road, when she was a teenager, she's no different from other teenagers. I mean, rebellion. I mean now she has grown out of that, like in the most difficult time, but still, like you can see that, there is rebellion there. So parents, when the kids were young, you can tell them what to do. When they're teenagers, they're not going to listen to you. So that's when actually I really, really appreciate that we brought her to church when she was 3. So she knows that so she doesn't, I mean, like teenagers do not respect parents. But she, I mean, that's in general. In general. But she knows she respects God. So she knows that God tells like her that in our family, parents, we are authority. So because she respects God, she could respect us to a certain degree when she was a teenager, rebellion teenager. Okay. So that helped a lot because teenager time, there were a lot of difficult times. So we argue, there are things that, we didn't think she should do, but she just insisted that she should do it. So there is no other family's kids. There is a saying that, other, in Chinese, is 别人家的孩子.
The neighbor's kid.
Neighbor's kid. There is no neighbor's kid. Every kid has their own trouble, has their own problem. So there is no perfect kid. So parents, you just need to, I think for us, I mean for our particular family, I think bring her to God, bring her to church. It was the key for a lot of things, a lot of fruits, results down the road.
So for our family, I am the person take all the credit, don't do anything. I think my wife is just do all the work and get
takes
all the
blame. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So one of the examples would be interesting, I think, especially for college application, right? I can probably honest say for all girls, not just Asian girls, right? So the relationship between the kids and the parents is very intense. Many of the kids don't even allow their parents to view their essay. And I can see there were a lot of cases where it's kind of intense. Mom wants to see it. Mom wants to give her advice. She will say, this is fine. It's not 1. It's not 2. It's many. And I think how many times you go through your essay revision? Like maybe 20 plus times?
No, maybe like 50.
50 times, right? And I can see there are tensions going on, but there are loves. This is something is truly amazing. I think that's something I think is not, well, once your kids get to that age you want to develop. No, I think you want to invest at a very young age to work with them, right, in all kinds of things. I think it'll happen. So yes. You think, I've known many of my friends' kids, they don't allow their parents even to look at it.
Right.
So
Definitely. Yes, I've seen that too. Yeah, well, at least now everything turns out she's considered as a role model to a lot of people. Successful, and she is doing, well. Right.
Oh, she has a lot of weaknesses. I mean,
thanks, Mom. Thanks.
Yes. So I mean,
appreciate it.
Yeah. I mean, we are just like us. I mean, every one of us. Yeah.
Yes. So, what do you want to be one day? I mean.
Wow. That's something that I've been thinking about a lot recently. Now that I'm off to college, and I'm thinking about what's beyond Potomac, Maryland. But, in Harvard I plan to study applied math. So, growing up, math was always my favorite subject. So, and I really enjoyed my calculus classes in school. So I wanted to find a way to apply my knowledge in math into something that I found really interesting and had real-world applications. So, honestly, life is unexpected and change is bound to happen. So right now, my only hope is that I can be able to use my passion for math and science and make a difference in someone's life. Whether that's making a robotic surgical arm or, making life-saving pharmaceuticals, I want to be able to share my knowledge and change someone's life.
Wow. Well, whatever you want to be, I know it's going to be very nice and successful, but best of luck for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for coming here. And then appreciate your time. Thank you. And then if somebody has some questions, maybe I can bring you back again, because this is very important. For a lot of parents. They wanted to make sure their kids going to successful. And it doesn't matter if it's a Harvard or somewhere, but they, so that way, as long as the kids successful, meaning not just academic, but also dancing, singing, and then be a happy kid.
Yeah,
That's most
absolutely.
important, right?
Absolutely.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
us.
for having us.
Thanks for joining us today. And then no matter, I always want to say that whatever they say, it's only represent their idea and their opinion.
Yes.
It's nothing to represent us,
Yes.
ACM. Thank you so much for watching.